Hey everybody, guess what? I'm close. I got a secret to tell you. Boomer's back. That's right. We are back in Slimefun. As a matter of fact, not only are we back, we are on our own private server in my house. We had to make the decision to change servers. If you really want to know, you can go look at the announcements in Discord on the old server. Should be self-explanatory. But not only are we back in Slimefun, we are back in the latest and greatest version of Slimefun in 1.16.1. And on top of it all, we have installed every single pack that the devs have made for Slimefun on this server. We have 38. That's right. We're going to bring up the guide. We have 38 categories in my book. Now, what's the goal here, right? What are we doing now that we're back doing Slimefun? So first and foremost, I wanted to give the devs a chance because I'd learned that a number of items on my previous server, the code had been altered. Now, some were done to reduce lag. Some of them were done to try to fix some previous bugs. I don't know how many of them were caused by who. I don't care. We're going to test this out. This is a 100%, other than Slimefun, pure vanilla setup. There's nothing else in here. No Optifine, not even Optifine. There's nothing. So we're going to find out what actually works and does work. Not, what does and doesn't work. We're going to go through the entire thing. Now, we are going to be doing this in creative. Simply because I want to give you guys tutorials on how to do everything that's in here. And there are things that we're going to run across that are not on your server, and that's okay. Should that happen, and it's something you feel that should be installed on your server, you need to be able to make a legit argument to the server owners why it should be installed, not just to make your life easier, because that's not going to get it done. You know my philosophy. It takes hard work and effort to really blossom in Minecraft. And if you're going to choose shortcuts and spawners all the time and not put in the work and effort to get there, when I was a helper on that last server of ours that we were on, a lot of times I get players who had been on for 2 days bugging me all day long. Help me make a diamond farm. Help me make a diamond farm. I said, what have you done to make the items you need to get there? Well, the answer was always nothing. Great. That's how much effort I'm going to put into you. The same amount you've put into you. So until you've actually done the work, this is going to be full cheats, full bowl explanation. We're going to try everything. I have a 200 by 100 polished black stone brick base followed with basalt around it, so to prove them in 1.16.1. We're going to try to contain the entire base within 200 by 100. My guess is we're going to have to double it to 200 by 200 to do it though. So we're going to do everything in this book. We're going to start today with tree farms. And what button did I just hit that I didn't want to hit? Here we go. So what we're going to start with today is the Woodcutter Programmable Android. Now, if you haven't tried this yet, I'm going to ask you to hit pause and go play with it for a while. Try to figure it out on your own first. If you get stuck, you can come back and watch the tutorial. So we're going to go alphabetically. We're going to lay down Acacia. Now, all I've done in here for the Android's memory program is simply said chop and replant and repeat the script. So we're going to start up with the acacia, and you're going to see something really quick here. You know what I hate about farming acacia is this. The fact that acacia grows off in different directions. And unless the blocks are directly vertically or horizontally attached to the main shaft, the Android can't farm them. So one thing you can do with every single type of tree that has problems, for example, acacia does this, the very large oak tree does it, and so does jungle, the 2x2, where you have different pieces blown off. Instead of that, make a 2x2 shaft surrounded by a solid block all the way up and maybe go 4 or 5 blocks out of the center. So that way, when the tree grows, it has to be contained within there and nothing else will grow on the side. The most beneficial one it's probably going to be for will be the acacia, simply because you want to have blocks going this way. The only valid way the acacia can grow will be straight up within 1 block of the way on here. The Android will always plant whatever it farms. So no matter how long I continue this with acacia, it will plant acacia. So if I switch over to birch, what you're going to see inside of the Android is just the acacia logs. It does not collect the extra saplings. Now, instead of creating an automatic bone mealer, you could use the tree growth accelerator, let those leaves spawn, and then use a infused hopper, which picks up in a 7x7 squared on the hopper to pick up saplings that drop. So I'm going to clear all that out of there. We're going to move to the birch. Birch is probably the perfect one. Birch and single jungle and single spruce, because this is exactly what's going to happen over and over. And there we go. We've got our birch. Let's move on to dark oak. As you know, dark oak is a 2x2. Dark oak works pretty much the same, except just in a 2x2 format. The only time it won't work is if that same scenario again, where if you had a block that was diagonally down or diagonally over, it's not going to mine. But you can see it's already planting dark oak. We can see how many blocks we're bringing in. It's a 1-to-1. It's not something, my understanding, that is compatible with MCMMO, meaning you won't get extra blocks. You want MCMMO benefits, you've got to do the hard work physically. Here, you're going to get what you plant. All right, so let's move on to jungle. The single 1x1 jungle, whoops, is just like the birch tree. Get the bummy out there, Boomer. Does the same thing. It's no different than a birch. Comes right down. The 2x2 jungle does give you one challenge. And as I think I've already mentioned, it's when the tree spawns off blocks like this that are off to the side and not directly attached to the main shaft of the tree. In those cases, I believe most of those blocks, if not all of them, will be left. And so, like I said, if you were to enclose that 2x2 chamber, and you can see here, you need to go out at least 6 blocks to stop the potential of wood spreading elsewhere. Now, you don't have to. You can let the Android chop it down and just grow another tree in its place, knowing that you will still have to come up here at some point and clear out the extra blocks. Okay, but the 2x2 will grow fine. So let's clear all that out. Let's move on to oak. 1x1 oak, no problem. Again, the smaller standard oak tree, just like the birch and a single jungle. It's when you get this, where you can see some of them got it picked up because they were directly attached to the shaft. Others, not so much. So we'll pull this out. And then going to the last one, the spruce, very similar. A 1x1 will act just like the birch in the jungle. The Android will go up, clear it out. If we do the 2x2, it should work the same way. Now, sometimes when you do a 2x2 spruce, you get a ton of leaves around the base. Sometimes you get someone up top. Sometimes you get them just at the top. Either way, so far I have not encountered the problem. My guess is when you have the 2x2 at the bottom, it could be an issue only when you've got an automatic farm set up, depending on where the fuel and the item interfaces go. So we're going to just clear that air out, and we're going to stop here. I've set up a tileable, scalable farm with 2 birch. I've put them in program mode or pause mode right now. So here's what will happen is the Android mines this farm down and plants a birch. The observer picks up that block change, sends a signal in here which gets picked up. We extend it to 2 ticks, long enough for another redstone device to pick up that pulse and extend it. We're going to use a burnout torch where 8 times that torch will pulse this block, which fires bone meal, fire dispenser, right? Fire bone meal into the sapling. About 95% of the time, the sapling will grow into a tree when it's hit with 8 pieces of bone meal. And the times that it's not, you've got a sapling that's been hit with bone meal 8 times. It won't take long for the vanilla to kick in. So let's kick this up. We'll start them both up. I'm going to pick up right where I left off. Okay, so again, the tree breaks. We got 8 bone meal. So this is one of those times when the 8th didn't bone meal. Now we could sit here and wait a minute for this tree to grow. I'm just going to tag it again. Sapling, observer fires its pulse, came over here, fired it 8 times. We didn't get the tree, so we'll redo it again. Android cuts the tree down. We get a sapling, 8 bone meal. Actually, it took, I think, all 8 that time. This time it didn't happen. So maybe it's not quite 95, maybe it's 90%. But like I said, even if it doesn't grow right away, it's okay, because we know eventually a tree that's been bone mealed 8 times will grow relatively quickly to one you just plant. So I've actually programmed these androids. What they'll do is, after their code is done, they'll walk down to the item interface like this guy is. He'll put his in. He'll come over here, pull more fuel. In this case, I'm using coal blocks. If it's a stackable item, it'll fill to the maximum stackable level. So this can be tiled out in this direction. It can be tiled out in this direction. Because of where the item network connector nodes are, they'll continue to connect no matter which way you go. Okay. 2 things to keep in mind. We have to get a fuel source in here for the androids. Now remember, I said we're doing this in creative. So to start with, we are kind of creatively putting those items in there. But my goal is to have a farm for every single thing in a Slimefun guide that can be automatically set up. We are going to do, including automating of ingots and machines. So what we're going to have to do is come back. We're going to put up a board that says we need to come back and set up a bone meal farm that will allow us to automate filling these dispensers with bone meal to keep these farms running. Now that one definitely needed a lot of bone meal. I've noticed in the newer versions of Minecraft, it was very rare on the old versions for bone meal to go past like 5 or 6. Now I'm getting some that are seeing 14, 16. I had a 2x2 jungle. It took 2 stacks before the bone meal finally kicked in and got the tree to grow. So I'm guessing Mojang has extended the potential realm of bone meal necessary to get a tree to grow. So as you can see, again, it's not 100%, but this is the only way that I could automate this and get the signal to run. I thought about a pulse extender and having it come back and hit it a second time, but the more you add to this, the less compact this farm is going to get, the more space it's going to take up, and then there's the possibility of the network nodes not syncing up. So I'm okay, as you can see. Wow. All those bone meal on the stage didn't even meet stage 1. So I guess that tree would definitely have taken longer. So they've clearly changed the formulas about tree growth and bone mealing. The nice thing about this is it doesn't run forever. It's not a non-stop clock. Now, yes, you could build a non-stop clock on this. Server owners aren't going to be happy. Redstone clocks are servers, kind of like kill-all bad boy things where they hurt server performance. The other thing you could tag this with would be the tree growth accelerator in Slimefun. Now you do have to automate a lot to set that up, but that would give it one more bone meal hit and potentially help with that. I haven't decided if I want to include that because I've got to create space for it. And I've got to create, it has a range. It's 9 blocks in each direction. So I'd have to see how many of them it can hit and if it's worth the effort. But this is kind of it. Now, 2 will clearly not create enough for me. I'm going to probably set this up with either 8 or 16. I'm going to do that off of camera probably after this episode is done. I just wanted to get this. I'm so excited to get back into Slimefun. The SkyGrid series is done. I'm sorry, guys. We are done with the server. We are done with SkyGrid. We are going to be also starting a new survival series. I know we just started one on a Mojang realm. However, I wanted it to be more than 10 people at a time. And so there is a new server opening soon. I'll tell you more about it once we're open. We've got a lot of really good people behind the scenes who work in the technology industry, specifically with networking and programming, who I've been busting their hump over setting up plugins, making sure they're right, making sure backup systems are in place, making sure that permissions work the way they're supposed to. We've been testing plugins for a few weeks, and that's the main reason why I have not been producing videos. So I've also abandoned the survival series, so we will start a new survival series on that. This will be in creative simply just for Slimefun. We're going to keep the two unique and separate. So in Slimefun, there are a number of things that we can power this fuel source with. We can use wood, we can use charcoal, we can use coal, we can use coal blocks, we can use kelp blocks, we can use bamboo. There's like 80 different items. The most productive one for us is coal blocks. Now again, I don't have bone meal and I don't have a ton of coal blocks. We're on a 200 by 100 blank spot. So we are going to have to creatively put those in until we have those self-sustaining farms run up. So the next farm, the next episode we're going to do is the bone meal farm. But what we want to do is set this up to turn all this wood into coal blocks. And that is fully automatable in Slimefun. We need to go from wood into a carbonado furnace to burn them quickly and to get that 3 times luck chance of getting additional drops. That will make it charcoal. From charcoal, we're going to go to a carbon press. It takes 4 charcoal to make 1 coal. So let's look at the fuel source. Whether you use charcoal or coal, each one gives 8 seconds of fuel burn in the Android. They're both useless at 8 seconds. Wood is only 4 seconds. But a coal block, 9 coal, which would be 72 seconds on its own, runs for 13 minutes, 20 seconds. So the devs probably didn't proportion that one equally, but as long as that's what Slimefun gives, we're going to turn all this wood into coal blocks. So we go to a carbon press, and then from there, we take our coal and in an electric press, turn it into a coal block. Then we're going to feed it back into the fuel source, the input. So I'm going to set that up off on camera. Now, what we're going to do with the coal blocks is they're going to be going to 2 distinct places. One's going to be to the fuel source for the Androids. The other is going to be a big storage unit because we're going to need, it's either going to be the coal blocks or coal is going to go to the big storage block, because to create carbon chunks, to create synthetic diamonds, carbonados, all of that needs coal. So what I might do is 50-50 of it. Half of it will go to one big storage unit for turning into coal blocks. The other half will go to a big storage unit to save towards carbonados, okay, for Slimefun. So I'm going to expand this to at least 8. Most likely, however, it's probably going to go to 16 because I've got to create enough coal to automate running a ton of stuff. And we also have the ability down the line, which we're also going to add in, of creating, you heard me right, with a skeleton spawners. More of that to come later on down the line. Guys, I really have to tell you, I'm so excited to be here, to be back doing Slimefun, to do tutorials. Please, if there's anything that I have not covered in Slimefun for the previous 15 episodes that you would like to see a farm built on, let me know. But we are going to go until everything in this guide is 100% automated and running on this server. I'm so excited again. Thank you for watching. We are truly back to going boomer. We'll see you later.